Okay. Who wants to share your screen with your audience? What does that say? I don't know. This is my first time doing this. So, welcome to my first live on YouTube. We are going to be doing Pilates for beginners. So, I'm going to take us through all the nuances, all the basics you need to know in order to be able to focus on your technique and perform the exercises effectively. Okay, so we are going to start by finding a neutral pelvis and moving from there. Okay. All right. I want you to please lay down on your back, on your mat. Oh, excuse me. You're going to have your feet and knees roughly fist distance apart. So to find that, bring the feet and knees together, open the feet into a baby V position, and then open the heels and knees to follow. Then you should be in roughly fist distance gap. You're going to have your heels relatively close to your fingers. For a neutral pelvis, so your pelvis is this entire part of your body, I want you to have your pubic bone and your hip bones on the same plane. So if I had a tray of glasses of water and I placed them on my pelvis, they would all sit level. Now, when you tuck, you're going to push your lower back into the mat. Imagine you have a tail that you're tucking between your legs like a nervous dog. Then you come back to neutral. We do the reverse where we're arching to make a bridge underneath us where the hips are now sitting higher than the pubic bone. So we want to find that neutral point, placing fingertips on the pubic bone. You're going to place the base of the palms of the hands on your hips. You're going to have a triangular shape within the fingers. I want you to gently rock backwards and forwards until you feel like the base of the palms and the fingertips are on the same level. You can then peek down, take a little look-see to see if you're correct, and then lower the head back down. And now, for the ribs, I want you to exhale deeply. When you exhale deeply, I want you to feel like the last bottom rib is pushing down into the mat. Now, if you do this and you feel like you're straining in your neck, you could be very tight in the front of the chest. So just grab yourself a pillow to elevate your head, which will automatically drop the chest back down, which will make it easier to lace those ribs into the mat for me. Okay, now I don't need it, so I'm not using it. So once you're set up there, we're going to move into our diaphragmatic breathing to learn how to activate the deep, deep, deep intrinsic core and the pelvic floor, which is important for Pilates to help you stabilize. So from here, you're going to take a lovely inhale. Now I want that belly to lift up to the ceiling. Now exhale deeply, pulling the belly in towards the spine like a corset, tightening around that spine. Inhale, push the belly out. Exhale, pull the belly in. Inhale, push the belly out. Now, as you draw that belly in, connect into that pelvic floor and pull it up into your body. Inhale to release. The pelvic floor muscles are the muscles you feel activating when you're holding on to go to the bathroom, but you have nowhere to go. So inhale, we release, push the belly out. Exhale, draw the belly in and pull that pelvic floor up. Inhale, push the belly out. Exhale, draw the belly in and pull that pelvic floor in. So now that we've got the breathing and the abdominals connected, we're going to add some movement. So from here, inhaling. Now, as you exhale and pull the belly in towards the spine, I want you to tuck your tailbone between the legs like a nervous dog and press your lower back into the floor. You are not squeezing into the bum cheeks in order to deepen that tuck. We're focusing on the abdominals being the dominant mover. Inhale, releasing back to your neutral. And again, exhale, draw the belly in, imprint your lower back. Pelvic floor is activated here as well. And inhale, releasing back to neutral. And again, exhale, belly in, pelvic floor lifting up. imprinting lower back, tucking pelvis. Inhale back to neutral. We're going to do 2 more before we then start incorporating a full lift and mobilizing the spine. So inhale, exhale, draw the belly in, imprint the lower back, connecting into that pelvic floor. And inhale, releasing back to neutral. And again. And inhaling back to neutral. And last one like that, exhaling, draw the belly in, pelvic floor connecting, ribs are knitting in the front line, and inhale to release. Okay, now we're going to add in a full lifting of the hips up to the ceiling. So from here, we inhale. Exhale, we draw the belly in, tighten that corset, imprint the lower back, pelvic floor drawing up. Now add some pressure into the feet to deepen the tuck of the tailbone, connecting into the glutes. Now lead with your pubic bone as you start peeling your spine up and off the floor, 1 vertebra at a time. Let your eye line drop so that the eyes are parallel to the thighs. Those ribs are pulled in and connected. I do not want you pushing up so far that we're arching the ribs, flaring the ribs and arching the back. So we're making sure we have a straight line from the knee through the hips to the shoulders. We're going to inhale from that point there. Now exhale, reversing the movement. Concave your chest deeply for me as you're lowering. You are still trying to tuck that tailbone between the legs. Imprint your lower back onto the mat and then release your pelvis to neutral. And we're going to go again for me. Inhaling. Exhale, belly in. Tuck that tailbone. Activate those legs. Peel the spine off the floor. Reaching the knees gently forward. Eyes parallel to the thighs. Ribs connected. Inhale. Exhale, reversing down. Upper back between the shoulder blades. Middle back. Moving through the rib cage. Lower back. And release the pelvis to neutral at the bottom. We're going to do 3 more like that. Inhaling. Exhale, belly in. Tuck that tailbone. Lead with the pubic bone, peeling the spine up and off the mat. Knees softly reaching forward, ribs connected, eyes parallel to the thighs. Inhale. Exhale, rolling down sequentially. You let your eyes naturally return back to the ceiling once the hips are back down onto the floor. Let's go for 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, draw the belly in, tuck the tailbone, peel that spine off the floor, and lengthening knees softly away from the body, ribs connected. Inhale. Exhale, rolling down sequentially through the spine and releasing back at the bottom. Last one here for me. Inhale. Exhale, scooping, tucking, peeling, and rising. Grounding all 10 toes as you inhale and exhale, reversing, lowering down, releasing back to neutral. All right, we're going to bring the feet and knees together. Take your arms out to a T. I want the arms in line with the shoulders, not above the shoulders. When we have them in line, then the neckline and the shoulder blades can be a lot more relaxed. When you have them higher up, you're going to start bunching those shoulder blades in towards each other. So from here, imagine the ankles are bolted together, the knees are also bolted together. We're going to inhale to roll the hips to the right, but your feet are now stacked. My left foot is not touching the floor. The ankle bones and the knees are still in line with each other. You only rotate as far as you can, keeping your left shoulder comfortably grounded on the floor, not forcefully grounded. And we want to make sure that the front of the ribs are still active. We don't want to have released them and arched into that lower back upper back in order to gain range. So rather connect the ribs in the front, even though we are lifted and rotated off the floor. And now take a lovely inhale, exhale, draw that belly in, tightening that corset again, and squeeze the knees as we come back to center. Let's go over to the other side for me, and inhale, hips over to the left. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze those inner thighs. Right shoulder comfortably grounded on the floor. Inhale and exhale. We draw the belly in and bring it back to center. And inhale to the right, ankle bones touching, knees still squeezing. And exhale, we tighten the tummy to assist in lifting the body back up to center. And inhaling over to the left. And exhaling back to center. If you have to strain in your neck or your shoulders in order to lift the knees back to center, you have taken the legs too far. With Pilates, bigger is not always better. You want to be effective and target the muscles that you are aiming to work acutely, so very specifically. And sometimes when you go bigger, then you're moving out of that precision. So that is why bigger is not always better, and stability versus range of motion. If you are not keeping a part of the body stable that needs to be while you are moving another part of the body, then make your circle or your lever shorter so that it's easier to stabilize while moving. Okay. All right, so over to the right, exhale back to center, and last one over to the left, and exhale back to center. Okay, let's separate the feet and knees roughly fist distance apart again, so open the toes, then open the heels and the knees. We're going to interlace our hands, we're going to place them behind our head. I want you to please cradle the base of your skull. Once you have the hands behind the base of the skull, place the head back down on the floor. I want you to now look at one point on the ceiling in front of you. Keep your eyes looking at that one point and then lift the elbows until they come into the vision. I do not want you to look left and right to find your elbows. Once they have just come into that peripheral vision, that is where they stay. So that gap between elbows and head stays consistent. Now with the Pilates chest lift, which we're about to go into, I want you to please again keep that pelvis neutral. When you rise up, do not tuck your tailbone and push the lower back into the floor. I want you to think of pulling the ribs down to the hips, not the hips up to the ribs. So from here we take an inhale. Exhale, we start lifting the head up, keeping about a ping pong size ball gap between the chin and your chest. From there, you lift the upper body as a single unit, pulling the ribs down to the hips, not tucking tailbone, bringing hips to ribs. You want to make sure the head is still resting in those hands. Inhale to start lowering back down, one vertebra at a time. But now keep the ribs connected in the front line. Do not let them lift and arch in order to get your head back to the floor. So inhaling, exhale, we lift the eyes, head, chest. Exhaling to continue lifting as a single unit. Look at your hips and your pelvis. Make sure your pubic bone is not higher than your hip bones. If it is, arch your lower back a little bit to get that lovely flat plateau stomach at the bottom. Inhale and exhale to lower back down. Keep those ribs connected. Inhale. Exhale, we lift the head and chest. Ping pong size between chin and chest. Pull those ribs down to elevate the head. Head resting in the hands. It's about 7 kgs, so you should really feel the weight. Inhale and exhale, gently lowering back down sequentially, resting, head back on the mat. We're going to go for 3 more here. Inhale, exhale, lifting head and chest. Belly drawing in, pelvic floor pulling up. And inhale, hold. Exhale to lower down. Keep those ribs connected, connected, connected. And again, inhale. Exhale, lifting head and chest. Inhale, hold. And exhale to lower down. And again, exhale to lift head and chest. Now taking a look at those elbows, making sure we haven't pulled them in to hang on the head to lift as high as possible. Inhale and exhale to lower back down. You're aiming to lift to just off the tips of the shoulder blades. If you can't get there now, don't worry about it. Lift as high as what you can, keeping that pelvis neutral. Inhale and exhale to lower back down for me. Okay, we are going to go into a chest lift with rotation. I just want to explain a few things visually before you get into the position. You're going to keep your hands behind your head, but I'm doing this so that it's easier to understand. You're going to exhale to lift up into the chest lift. Now, you want to keep your chin in line with the center of your rib cage. So to assist in doing that, if your neck is fine, you can bring the fingertips to your chin while your hands are in a prayer position and rest the hands down on the center of your chest. We inhale, exhale, rotate the rib cage, keeping the chin in line with the chest, eyes just past your thighs. Inhale to center, and then exhale, rotating over to the other side, eyes just past the thighs. Inhale to center. So it is not a big movement. When you're rotating over, I do not want you to rotate so far that the hips follow. The idea is to keep your hips stable. That's the stability we're talking about versus the range of motion. So when you're rotating, I don't want you to rotate so far that the pelvis rocks. We want to keep that pelvis anchored and neutral, and that determines how far we rotate. So let's all get into it together now. Hands are behind the head, elbows in the corners of your vision. Inhale, exhale, lifting head and chest, keeping your pelvis neutral, so no pressing the lower back down into the mat. Shoulders dropped and out of the ears. Inhale. Now exhale, look down at your navel and rotate the rib cage to the left. And I'm referring to the rib cage leading the movement. We do not want the eyes and the elbows to lead the movement because then we no longer have alignment. We inhale back to center, so that upper body again is moving as one single unit. Exhale, rotate that rib cage over to the right. Imagine there's a torch shining out of the middle of your chest, and you have rotated that rib cage to shine the torch over to the right. Inhale, center, ping pong size ball gap between chin and chest. And exhale over to the left, rotate that rib cage. Good. The gap between the elbows and the head are equal on each side. We haven't closed one and opened the other. Inhale to center. And last one, roll over onto that right shoulder blade. Eyes past the thighs. Inhale, center. And exhale to lower back down. Lengthen arms, lengthen the legs. Just give it a gentle stretch out. We've worked a lot into flexion. You may feel some of that work into the base of the rib cage in the front of the body there. So that's why we're giving ourselves that little stretch just to help open it up a bit before we roll over onto our tummies to finish off with some back extension. So let's roll over. I want us to go into what I call rugby post arms. So that's when you have your elbows straight out in line with your shoulder, and the elbows are bent at 90 degrees. You want that to be mimicked on both sides. You are going to have a little gap between the legs for me. I don't want them together just yet. You're going to rest your nose and forehead on the mat. Imagine there's an ice block underneath your belly button and you're trying to suck the belly button up and away from that ice block. And you want to lengthen your lower back a little bit so feel like you're pushing the pubic bone lightly into the floor. From here, we're going to inhale. Now, as you exhale, imagine you're pushing a marble forward with your nose. And then start peeling the spine off the floor, one vertebra at a time. Press your elbows into the mat. I do not yet want you to straighten the arms. I'm trying to keep the arc in the spine more gentle for the beginning. So pressing the arms down. Imagine you're trying to show off a necklace by pushing that part of the chest forward. Belly is still drawing in. Now, as you inhale to lower the body down one vertebra at a time, reach the elbows away from the body so that the shoulder blades don't come up together and pinch. We want to lengthen, make space as we lower down. The nose is the last thing to drop. We're going to go for 3 more. Inhale. Exhale, we lift the nose first, roll that marble forward, peeling the spine off the mat, one vertebra at a time. Rising up, pushing the chest forward. And then inhale, lowering down, reach the elbows away, and drop that chin down. And again, exhale, we roll the nose forward, roll that marble forward, start peeling the spine off the mat, one vertebra, not the spine, the chest, peeling the chest off the mat, one rib at a time. Inhale there and reach the elbows away as you gently lower back down, dropping the chin and the nose. And let's go last one here for me. Exhale, roll that marble forward. Peel the spine, the rib cage off the floor. One vertebra at a time. Elbows pushing down. Feel like you're trying to pull the elbows down to the hips, but nothing actually moves. Shoulders out of the ears. Inhale, lowering down sequentially, reaching the elbows apart. From there, hands on the floor on either side of your chest, tummy tight. Lift the hips up, push your bum back, and push back into your rest position for me. In your rest position, you have your sit bones as close to the heels as possible, chest resting on the thighs, arms reaching forward, breathing through. And then gently walk your hands towards you as you lift the body up. And that, crazy hair, is going to be our session today. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I tried to go through everything in some nice detail for you so that it was a lot easier to sort of understand and follow along. Oh, I don't know if I like my hair today. Anyway. Anyway, yes. So if you did join in, I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that there was enough explanation for you to be able to follow without having to always look at the screen, because that is my number one. I cannot handle it when I have to look at a screen every time. Then your neck is turning. You don't know what you're doing. So I like to try and explain it so that if you were blind, you'd be able to still come along for the ride. So I hope that you enjoyed. And yeah, I'll see you next time.